Hey guys, Kevin Cage back with another cryptocurrency update. Welcome to the channel. Like and subscribe if you're serious about the digital asset space, and let's get right into it today. So, to kick things off, XRP_Stort. This is from 2018. We know this name, Everest, again, an NTT data company, as we can see right here in this picture. Let me see, I was playing with my screen recording, so hopefully you can see this whole thing. And again, an NTT data company. We know Love for Crypto has originally found it back in the day when it came out, that huge document in September of 2017. I know Digital Asset Investor and many other content creators have shared it around as well. Probably one of the best documents to at least illustrate as an infographic what XRP aims to do in tandem with ILP. Again, we have XRP, which is really the digital asset or the bridge asset. Of course, it's highly secure, highly efficient in terms of speed, scalability, etc., and costs. And then of course, on top of the XRP ledger, which don't even get me started on the benefits. Of course, I list a few bullet points in the top comments of every video. And then of course, Interledger Protocol, the basic bedrock of the future financial system. And again, this was gifted to the W3C, the World Wide Web Consortium. So in this picture, and this was found by XRP_Stort, so thank you, sir, near real-time cross-border payment solution for UK Tier 1 banks. So for an example, we see Everest working with Ripple, and then the UK Tier 1 banks. And of course, there's various tiers. The little guys usually have to pay fees to the bigger guys, and they kind of take the cream off the top. So there's definitely, for the lower tiers, they definitely have to pay more fees. Essentially, it is a form of a monopoly. So right here, as we can see, Earthport, we know that they are, of course, a RippleNet partner dated back to, I believe, 2015. I always mix those dates up if it's 2015, 2014. I feel like I show it in every other video, along with, the Visa acquisition. And we see the United States here connecting with the payments of Earthport, utilizing what was formerly known as XCurrent, of course. And then we can see connected to the UK banks. And look, even right here, we got Apple Pay as well. So they connect the payment providers. We can see the project scope. Everest has participated in the implementation of Ripple's XCurrent solution with this UK Tier 1 bank, enabling near real-time payments and settlement. Now, keep in mind, a lot of people don't realize there is a difference between payment and settlement. Settlement is the key word and the trouble today. If we can get near real-time or real-time settlements instead of just real-time payments, which is just messaging and not settlement on the core bank or the core ledger of the central banks, that is the problem at hand to get rid of the pre-funded dormant capital in these Nostro Vostro accounts around the globe. So right here, 14 million potential retail customers can transfer British pound sterling into Euro or USD bank accounts leveraging Ripple bank-to-bank technology. And this was back in 2018 as an example. Of course, we've made it a lot further. We're no longer with the X series for Ripple, and they've actually changed the whole name for Ripple, in their solution with their software rollout is ODL, or on-demand liquidity, when you need it 24/7. All right, so basic API integrations, connections via software is a lot easier than it used to be. No more it's no longer hardware based. So this type of rollout, I know people say it takes time. Yes, it takes time to develop liquidity in the ecosystem to mature, along with regulations and price stability and things of that nature. Yes, but in terms of rolling it out, that analogy we hear of flipping a switch has never been more possible. It is very likely that will be the case at some version or another. Will we see multiple, flip of a switches in different corridors and, ramping up 5% to 10% to 20% over time? Perhaps, but people are going to be catching on. Along with custody, other banks and corporates will be holding or custodying and storing XRP since they see it as going up. It is inherently deflationary as well, and there's a limited supply. It is disappearing, just like the gentleman Matthew Mellon passed away, lost millions of XRP forever. Things of that nature, of course, happen with any type of crypto asset with a limited supply, including Bitcoin. All right, now project benefits. Seamless customer experience. Next, near real-time settlement of funds. Next, global reduction of payment processing times, of course. Full disclosure of fees pre-transactions. You can see the FX rates before you decide to click and confirm. And then whether it's 3 seconds or 2 minutes, it still beats waiting 2 to 6 days. Full visibility of post-settlement funds pre-transaction. And also another point is with Swift's network today, guys, they're typically going through like 6, I've seen figures from 8 to 10 intermediaries, all right? They want to disintermediate that whole thing and get rid of the middleman, really, when you don't need to, and just create these direct relationships, whether it's bank to consumer, instead of having all of these third parties. Also, Galgatron did have a good blog on talking about kind of the middlemen, I believe. I forgot the title of it, but again, galgatron.net. All right, reduction of operational costs through automated reconciliation. Keep in mind, there's reconciliation, there's settlement, payment messaging, things of that nature, really, balancing the books as well. Minimization of payment failures. Absolutely. With the current infrastructure of today's legacy system that dominates the entire world, there is roughly a 6% error rate on all payments. Would you like to know the error rates of XRP and actual Ripple and all of their clients? Virtually zero, because addresses, everything's all created and lined up ahead of time. So there's not going to be that silly type of risk and counterparty risk along with that. All right, let's get into some additional information. So right here, a cryptic poet just sharing this. So we know other groups like Coinbase and other exchanges have done the same or Uphold, but now we have Binance announces the Binance Card. Binance is one of the world's biggest cryptocurrency exchanges. Shop and pay with crypto anywhere in the world. Now, I'm going to get into this, kind of give my point of view with this and where we will see it. So we can see right here, a Visa card, for example. I like how they put the unknown name or alias of the founder of Bitcoin here, Satoshi Nakamoto. And have you ever tried shopping online or paying bills with crypto? It can be a struggle. Again, they're trying to just include financial inclusion. The alternative is to sell your crypto and wait for a withdrawal to arrive to your bank, blah, 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 blah. These methods are not only convenient and slow, but sometimes they can also be quite expensive. So now talking about introducing this card. It does everything a payment card does, plus much more. It works just like a debit card issued by your bank. Rather, it's, issued by Binance.com, this exchange. Simply top up your card with funds through the Binance Card application in the form of Bitcoin or BNB, and a BNB is Binance Coin, their token of choice. And you're ready to go. So I can see that, they're trying to profit off this as well, just as any company would. It's as simple as transferring BNB from one wallet to another. So don't be surprised in the future if BNB does extremely well. Just like, how do you pronounce it? That other Indian crypto now, Wazir, Wazir, I think, something like that. Expect that to go up as well. Anything that is heavily influenced by one large company, or, you could argue centralized, but then you guys could say the same thing for Ripple. Points of view don't matter. I am simply here for return on investment. I think BNB, from a monetary standpoint, you made a lot of money if you were invested into it early. And that goes for anything. All right, so now your card will then use balances, or this balance, for your card payments and automatically deduct all expenses from balances every time you make payment. The Binance Card is issued by Visa, accepted by more than 46 million merchants offline and online in 200 regions and territories, making shopping easier with crypto, blah, blah, blah. All right, where can you get it? You can get it right through the Binance Card on the landing page, of course. And right here, you can order the card at a one-time cost of $15. Now, I want to see specifically the fees that are included with each transaction. I want to compare it to the other cards or WireX and Uphold and see if it really is much better. I know some people love Binance, and I love Binance as well. I do like Coinbase to an extent, but I'm always just hesitant on storing crypto for the long term on any other exchanges besides Binance and Coinbase. And always do your own research, but we're going to see more and more of these cards. Of course, I'm excited to also take collateralized debt positions, CDPs, which will be big as the crypto space matures. That would be very nice, provided we have a very high XRP price and I wouldn't actually have to sell my XRP. But until, I see very, very high digits and stability and, slow and steady growth, I'm probably not going to do that anytime soon. Unless we get like some 3-digit, 4-digit overnight at this point, I'll be waiting until then. Could happen this year. Who knows? All right, next up, GXRP, just tagging me in this, so thank you. So Ripple Labs partner, Nacha, and this is NACHA, boasts a strong relationship with the Federal Reserve. Now, another guy that I highly recommend you guys follow is King Solomon. It is XRP_owl here on Twitter, and this is GXRP, so thank you. So G_XRP1. King Solomon does cover Nacha a lot. He's covered a lot of information, even in some YouTube videos that he used to do. So highly recommend you check that out. All right, let's go over this now. Also, another thing I want to say, guys, it is very comical seeing all of the propaganda and FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and negativity of people and just some online bots, whether they're commenting on, Reddits or YouTube videos or Twitter, it's really, really silly to realize how XRP will not appreciate in value in the future. It's just simple math. With a highly liquid asset and high value moving over the ledger, it's just simply how it happens. It's how order books happen. You can say it's a Shane Ellis theory, but this is just logical. This has always been the case even before XRP, right? And I do enjoy that theory, but that theory is, sound logic to an extent. It's if you actually did that, yes. Guys, I just wanted to emphasize this, and I've said this on Twitter before. When everything is said and done with XRP, we said what will happen with price. We are going to these partnerships such as Nacha, however you want to say it. Guaranteed. They're going to call the ones that researched and invested our time, our money, and everything into this type of investment, and they're going to call you lucky. And in reality, some of us have been here, digital asset investor 2013, some people 2015, 2016, and then the majority, 2017, 2018, and there's a lot of newcomers now in 2020. And guess what? This is still a phenomenal price to get in at. I believe this asset, you guys already know my long-term prediction. I'm not even going to go over that. Just know anything under, 50 cents, $1, $10 to me is still a complete steal. All right, let's go over this. So, Ripple Labs partner Nacha boasts a strong relationship with the Federal Reserve. Many in the crypto community are speculating that Ripple's intentions behind the alliance with Nacha were to build some relationships with the U.S. Federal Reserve. And if you guys have not realized what has happened, you could argue that this was kind of a huge wealth transfer occurring with the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury. There's talks that Ripple's kind of helping consulting them. If you guys don't realize that Ripple is basically consulted the world in the top 40 to 50 governments, the IMF, the BIS, the World Bank, some of the biggest groups in the world. So don't be surprised. This is, sound speculation, and you have to speculate with a speculative investment. So let's just kind of see what kind of volume this Nacha group or horsepower they have in terms of payments. So there's been a lot of speculation. U.S. Federal Reserve would launch FedNow service as we reach 2023 or 2024. That's always been the talk. We'll talk about Ryan Zagone down below as well. Interestingly, Ripple has been in partnership with Nacha for almost 5 years now, and Nacha works very closely with the Federal Reserve as well as 11,000 members with it. Many in the community are speculating Ripple's intentions behind the alliance with Nacha were to build some relationships with the Fed. Also, Regulatory Relations Director at Ripple, Ryan Zagone, joined the Faster Payments Task Force board. For those of you that do not realize how deep this history goes, you can trace it even back before the foundation of Ripple. Go to OpenCoin as well in 2004, before the creation of Bitcoin. It goes deep. All right, so after all of that, Federal Reserve is rumored to start FedNow service. People have started connecting the nodes that Ripple might play an important role in the FedNow service of the U.S. Federal Reserve. Let's see how vital the Ripple-Nacha partnership itself is. Back in June 2014, Ripple Labs announced to the world its decision to join Nacha Payments Innovation Alliance, as a startup company that is credited for creating a platform for virtual payments and settlements, keyword, using existing fiat currencies. Ripple Labs was quick to join the partnership that promises innovation around the transfer of money and value. According to the statement that was released by Ripple Labs, having invaluable experience in developing and overseeing industry standards for years, institutions such as SWIFT and Nacha play a pivotal role in shaping new payment technologies and systems around the world in a manner that is safe and productive. According to many crypto and financial analysts, Ripple's decision to join Nacha Alliance is proof that the crypto company is expressing its interest to move towards the banking sector. And look where we are today. All right, this partnership's been around for years. Keeping in mind that Ripple gateways can be configured to abide to Know Your Customer (KYC) and AML (anti-money laundering) policies, some believe Ripple could make a good banking partner. All right, well, considering they have at least 300 plus partners now, I tend to agree. Banking partners and financial institutions around the globe. This fact positions Ripple XRP above other virtual currencies such as Bitcoin in the crypto adoption by banks. Absolutely. Not to mention the other benefits as well. So previously known as the National Automated Clearinghouse Association, NACHA, is a nonprofit organization that is made up of financial institutions that operate as trustees for the Automated Clearinghouse, ACH system. So this ACH system, guys, is the cornerstone for virtual payments and movements of funds and financial information in the U.S. Similar to the SWIFT network, the ACH network facilitates cross-border transfers. Sounds like a great partner to have with Ripple, trying to basically ease the friction of money cross-border. Keep in mind, the X series, XRP, stood for, XRapid. X is the cross-border, that's symbol for cross-border, and then rapid or rapid payments. And of course, they all have a theme that plays with water, with Ripple, X pool, liquidity, etc. All right, although Ripple Labs is considered more as a technology company or a payments company rather than a financial institution, XRP is both a technological platform, blockchain, and a currency. The Ripple network provides an open source protocol that is designed to handle fast and inexpensive transactions. Ideally, Ripple Labs strives to replace some of the underlying infrastructure functions of the ACH platform. Now, if we want to take it back to right here, with NTT data, remember that we saw this document and we saw the domestic rails, we saw, the international rails, for example, with US, we saw ACH and FedWire, things of that nature in every single country. And then we saw that instead of the continuous link settlement group, the CLS, we put IOP there and then connected to the XRP ledger, and it's just all interconnected. And then once we start getting into the capital markets, it's game over. I just don't really see that with any other asset, at least in the cross-border space. Excuse me. I see plenty of other projects being successful. I see Ethereum doing great things. I actually see Chainlink and Link being a potential, killer of the space for decentralized Oracle networks. I see a lot of other delegated or even just proof of stake consensus mechanism type of blockchains, whether it's Tezos or, Cardano. Things of that nature. I see tons of upside for them as well. I wish them all the best. But what I'm saying is the most immediate use cases for cryptocurrency or crypto assets, as we're starting to call them, based on, what the media is starting to call them, as banks are starting to custody and respect them more and more as the space matures, is cross-border and just, cross-border real-time payments and e-commerce. Those are the most obvious solutions right now to remove friction in the current system for the Internet of Information. Just like the gentleman said, I'll probably show the clip today. We can stream video all the way to a space station, but we cannot actually settle on the core ledgers between banks for 2 to 6 days. Seems pretty odd to be able to not send a payment like that yet. All right, posting the news of its decision to partner with Nacha, Ripple Labs posted on its blog the following information. Our decision to partner with Nacha Alliance avails to us further opportunities to advance our mission of partnering with everyone in the financial industry. Remember their quote from Ripple, "We plan to make a dent in the universe." Right? We desire to work with everyone in the industry to help drive innovation around the transfer of money. And again, talking about here, the Nacha Payment Innovation Alliance. If you guys want to read this, I'm getting tired of reading this article, so probably move on. Essentially, they're a behemoth, guys. Look, representing over 11,000 FIs in the US, directly or indirectly. And you can argue that with Ripple, with, Finastra, Enabler. Partners of partners, yeah, they're probably close to 10,000 plus as is. And we've gone over those numbers in the past. Even, Temos connections and, Task Group. Don't get me started. I feel like I talk about that every time. All right, and then right here, Patrick Griffin, Ripple's EVP of Business Development. As an internet protocol, Ripple XRP allows financial players to securely transfer money in any currency to any part of the world in real time. Our corporate focus is to assist banks, financial institutions, money transfer companies, and clearinghouses to use our platform for bilateral payments, back and forth, and messaging, of course, and straight-through processing. All right. Indeed, the partnership between the two separate entities promises to play a vital role in fintech financial technology. For many years to come, the alliance between Ripple and Nacha could see revolutionization of the traditional banking system, referring especially to the correspondent banking network today. By lowering transaction costs and speeding up transactions, keep in mind to transfer XRP is approaching, less a fraction of a penny, and it's also relatively fast, 3 to 5 seconds. And keep in mind, they can also scale. There's so many benefits to the XRP ledger within itself. Please just go to xrpl.org to learn more. All right, next up. Funny we just mentioned him. This is Patrick Griffin, as a matter of fact, from Ripple Labs, dating back to 2015. Again, shared by XRP_Stort. Thank you, sir. So again, I'm just going to play this video. Feel free to read this quote, but I want you guys just to listen up. Again, they tend to be conservative. They are representing. They do not want to hype XRP in any way. They're simply pushing the benefit of the asset, this open sourced protocol. And if we can own a portion of this, similar to owning internet packets before people built on the internet, that is the same concept rather than the Internet of Information. information and data. This is the internet of value, and it is my bet, along with many, many other, not only financial institutions, but reputable people and large investors, that this protocol will be used in one manner or another. And it's my bet that this type of thing is going to be zero or hero. It is either meant to be, completely useless and not going to survive, which it already has been used for, coming up 10 years, or it's going to die entirely. So, it's going to die entirely, like I said, or go straight to a very, very high value. Mathematically, if you break down the payments of, $50 million moving throughout the world every 3 seconds, just even in the Eurozone alone, this will send it to 3 to 4 digits per XRP minimum. So regardless, guys, I'm just saying it's kind of pointless to give a price prediction because there's so many unknown variables. We simply have to sit and wait. But I just try to urge family and friends that this is a huge opportunity. I know it may sound too good to be true. And with that, I just want you guys to do your own research and decide for yourselves.
Today, we have proofs of concepts all over the world with some of the largest banks and payment networks. And we've really, I think, proven that the technology does work. We've known it for ourselves for several years now. The technology's been under development for about 3 years. And now we are working with large scheme providers to test the technology at tremendous scale, national types of volumes. So we're very confident that the system works. The results are already coming back positive. And we intend to build a technology and service a technology that can provide payments for not just the world we live in today, where you have banks communicating with banks and sending payments between each other, retail users sending payments and transactions between each other, and merchants. But we're thinking about the future where applications are sending payments and paying other applications, where you have programmatic payments, orders of magnitude.
We're going to talk about that in a minute too, along with smart contracts.
Away from larger than the existing infrastructure we have in place today.
So there's quite an enthusiasm at the adoption level from the big institutions.
That's absolutely correct. The big institutions use the technology and I think are attracted to the technology for a number of different reasons. It really depends on the type of financial institution. Large financial institutions, I think, are attracted to this idea of being able to send a payment without having to post collateral or reserves to your beneficiary bank. Routing a payment dynamically through an open competitive marketplace of currency traders and FX providers to fund your transactions is a new concept that a lot of large institutions are very attracted to and very excited by.
And keep in mind, FX market is for sure open for domination. Keep in mind, all of the top tier players, even Brad Garlinghouse said that the idea, I think Chris Larson as well too, and I know Digital Asset Investor preaches this as well, and I agree. Their goal is they want XRP. They named it to be as liquid as, what was it, like the Swiss franc? Regardless, it was a G10 currency. If XRP is as liquid as a G10 currency and is sending high value, I can assure you it's meant to be a very, very high value token. All right, this is not me. I'm not going to give you, numbers per se like I already have, but please do your own research and realize even the key players like David Schwartz, for example, on the low end being conservative with price predictions and then explaining that there could be huge multiplier effects based off of, retail people and banks and different people holding it and reducing the circulating supply. Bottom line, it is undervalued, just like I believe, precious metals such as silver and gold are highly, highly undervalued. But I personally believe that XRP, being in this new asset class, will literally, their returns are going to make, precious metals, it's going to dwarf their returns, bottom line.
So the difference between retail and financials, obviously started in the retail space. You're different, it's far away.
Okay, great. So right, the technology here is different in that our focus is on wholesale banking, interbank payments. The technology we've developed is designed to accommodate.
Okay, so interbank between these banks, all right? And then remember JP Morgan or JPM coin, they're a competition, not necessarily competition because it's a walled garden and it is intra-bank, all right? It's kind of like the intranet, a closed walled garden network. So maybe JP Morgan and some of their clients, they don't mind using JPM coin, but there's going to be vested interests around the globe and they don't want to have to rely on trust. They want it to be on a permissionless basis. So interbank settlement and transfers is going to be the way of the future and basically allow everyone to interoperate.
Liabilities rather than a new asset class, digital asset class. So as a consequence, your counterparties really matter, and the best counterparties are financial institutions. So the technology here is really best suited for wholesale interbank transactions.
All right. And then, on the other end of that would be like retail, like you and I, everyday people. All right, next up. So XRP Crypto Wolf, HSBC, a RippleNet partner, puts $10 billion of paper private placement records on R3's Corda blockchain and plans to ramp up the project through 2020 and 2021. So again, R3, banking consortium, 300 plus members. They do own XRP. They've named XRP as one of the only digital assets to be used as a settlement mechanism, even though they can use others. They have named XRP specifically. Corda is their open sourced blockchain platform, have a bunch of members. Originally, it was kind of the Wall Street guys, you can say Goldman Sachs and other groups. But again, R3 kind of expressed more interest in XRP. There were some lawsuits, etc. Typical corporate stuff. Everybody just trying to make a buck. So essentially, this does not just have, I'm not going to say this has to do with XRP. What I'm saying is they're tokenizing value, digitizing value. This is what we are waiting to occur. We are waiting for, trillions of dollars to be stored and run over the ledger on blockchain specifically, and this is exactly what's happening. So we know that commercial real estate is a lot easier to tokenize rather than retail. We've gone through that one document or chart that I believe Matthew Liny shared with us that was super helpful to explain what's easiest to tokenize and what's hardest to tokenize in a time frame for that. But let's go through this article briefly. So $10 billion on private placements on R3's Corda blockchain. All right, so right here, we're confident that we'll be able to put significant additional volume and value of private placements from new and existing clients on the platform over the next 12 to 18 months. Head of Custody Innovation and Strategy Initiatives at HSBC, the company had previously announced it would have $20 billion on the platform by this month. Right? They talked about, increasing the functionality of the platform due to client interest and what has slowed its onboarding push. All right, now pay attention to this. With no immediate plans to move into the cryptocurrency space, HSBC is focused on assets that have yet to be digitized, as well as exchange-based security tokens. STOs, guys, or not even offerings, I shouldn't say that. And traditional assets that could be fractionalized. We've talked about the article. Go to r3.com and in the search bar, just type in asset fractionalization, just to read some of the benefits that are included there. We're already seeing some of them today. Right. The bank is also seeing demand from clients to use tokens for a whole fund lifecycle. Right. The bank is using blockchain as opposed to a traditional database because its plans to tokenize the private placements after it digitizes them. Private placements are sales of stock shares or bonds that don't occur on the open market. Unlike other enterprise efforts, HSBC did not put a cost savings estimate on the digitization project, claiming incremental internal efficiency. However, Roddy said the bank's main aim with Corda is to get real-time information access. So these are not, it's not just about value transfer. There's tons of benefits that are going to push banks and hedge funds to go digital. It's, quite obvious at this point. I just wanted to share it. The more we are going digital, the easier it is to on-ramp and, just plug and play everything, and they still need to interoperate. And it's all about, settlement of value. And as we know, the XRP ledger and ILP, it's entirely value agnostic. So whether it is, a tokenized piece of real estate, whether it's gold, whether it is, some version of an STO as well, it doesn't matter. It can be another cryptocurrency or it can be another, JPM coin running on top of the ledger. Doesn't matter. That is why the protocol with the most open and agnostic point of view that basically is just open and allows financial inclusion and allows the best projects and technologies to survive will be used. And that is the idea that they want. All right. Easy access. All right, just looking at this. I'm just saying, watch custody. It is slowly but surely occurring. We already have some banks and hedge funds allowing trading and custody of digital assets. And, they've named Bitcoin and they've named Ethereum as well. Pay attention to that. It's my bet that Ethereum and Bitcoin will both run on the XRP ledger and already have. Next up, we're just talking about him. So Matthew Liny, Liny. So Ripple appoints head of Southeast Asia operations. So we take a peek here at this gentleman, Kelvin Lee, head of Southeast Asian operations at Ripple now. Again, the company has hired this gentleman here to basically drive the growth of the customer base in this region. Based in Singapore, Lee will leverage his experience in banking and finance to oversee the expansion of Ripple, which focuses on enterprise blockchains for global payments across the Asia-Pacific region. Now, as we can see, senior executive positions, we see his background. This is what's important. When I invest into an ecosystem, it is not about, the technology is awesome, but it's really about the people that are leading it, such as this gentleman. And we know, Ripple's been handpicking people from the biggest companies in the world, even people that were working on, they were kind of Ripple's competition per se, like Swift GPI. Marjan Delatin left Swift to spearhead and lead the initiative for Ripple to help. We have, people like, Marcus Treacher as well, board member, we're talking in years and years with, Swift and HSBC. To me, the writing is on the wall. The two things I can't say is, I don't know, I should say it like this, what some people at Ripple have said at the Swell event to like Brad Kimes and Digital Asset Investor. They said, what was it? It's not if at this point. It's not when, it's not if, it's how big. And this is in reference to XRP. How big is this ecosystem really going to get? All right. So right here, he's worked with leadership over, for 18 years across the APAC, Asia Pacific region, and then the EMEA. Again, this is Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And now Lee commented right here, I'm excited to be working with Ripple to revolutionize the market for cross-border payments. We want to enable money to flow across borders as quickly as data does today, just like I was saying with information, by empowering players in the remittance and money transfer market. All right. So again, interesting history here. We can see MasterCard, Visa, FIS, and joins the team as a leader. All right. And there's, plenty. If you guys want to go on Ripple's LinkedIn and just dibble and dabble and do a little research and see the history of all of these key players. And even more interesting is see the previous employees of Ripple and see where they went. There's a method to the madness, I can assure you. All right, we're going to finish up with this and stick around for this. I love this content. So thank you, XRP_Stort, for sharing this. This is from 2015, the World Economic Forum. So 10% of global gross domestic product, GDP, stored on blockchain technology is expected to be in 2027. We're just going to read this whole thing because it is that good. Highly recommend pausing the video, take a screenshot of this. So Bitcoin and the blockchain in 2015. Remember, Bitcoin is that name brand recognition. The tipping point. After 10% of global, GDP stored on the blockchain, okay? Expected date 2027. By 2025, 58% of respondents expected this tipping point to have occurred. Bitcoin and digital currencies are based on the idea of distributed trust mechanisms called the blockchain. More so I'd say it's a ledger system, a way of keeping track of trusted transactions in a distributed fashion. Currently, the total worth of Bitcoin in the blockchain is around $20 billion, or about 0.025% of global GDP of around $80 trillion. Now, here's the positive impacts. This is what I love to see. Number one, increased financial inclusion in emerging markets as financial services on the blockchain gain critical mass. Keep in mind, Ripple, specifically, cross-border remittance, is tackling the emerging markets, the unbanked, the hard to bank. Mobile banking is going to become more and more prevalent. There's people in different populations around the world, and I'm sure some of you are listening to the video right now where you may have a cell phone, but you really don't even have a bank account per se. Next up, disintermediation of financial institutions as new services and value exchanges are created directly on the blockchain. Already emphasized this earlier. Getting rid of the middlemen, just direct relationships right away for a more efficient ecosystem of transferring value. Next, an explosion in tradable assets as all kinds of value exchange can be hosted on the blockchain. We just talked about HSBC, talked about Corda, all kinds of things, even if it is only mere, reconciliation or, security tokens or some version of that, doesn't matter. Same concept. They are all still going to be tradable when you need to trade and exchange. Next, better property records in emerging markets. All right, we can even touch this and relate it to commercial real estate and the ability to make everything a tradable asset. Next, contracts and legal services increasingly tied to code linked to the blockchain. No more trust. You trust in the mathematics. All right, this is true certainty. There's no more counterparty risk to be used as an unbreakable escrow or programmatically designed smart contracts. And then down below, we can see the shift in action. You can go to smartcontracts.com. They provide programmable contracts that do payouts between two parties once certain criteria have been met. So you can do kind of if and then statements without involving a middleman. Again, disintermediation. These contracts are secured in the blockchain as self-executing contractual states, which eliminate the risk of relying on others to follow through on their commitments. This is going to be the future, guys. That alone, if you want to take it to healthcare, if you want to take it to law, accounting, this is going to change the world. All right, increased transparency as well is the blockchain is essentially a global ledger storing all transactions. Now, when I'm saying increased transparency, I'm not saying every blockchain is going to be public 100%. No, absolutely not. But if there was an ecosystem or a walled garden or, an intranet of blockchains, like little blockchains between a few corporates, they can all see their ledger transactions, and it's kind of private, but within a selected group, excuse me. So what we can see is it's going to develop more trust. It's going to foster financial inclusion and hopefully help us kind of do this next transfer. I know it's going to be a transfer of wealth, but also from an evolutionary standpoint, so we can really step up our game and evolve and make this world a better place. Again, there's pros and cons to everything. There's a lot of negativity lately. I just want to focus on some of the positive for once, guys. I'm very excited for the future. My mouth is so dry, I need to sip some coffee, but I appreciate it. Anyone that watched this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Again, check the links in the description. We got tax-free crypto Roth IRAs, exchanges, cold wallets down below. Shout out to Jamie XRP and all other top channel members. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you all. And until next time.